Now we continue our in-depth coverage of the state budget. The Senate Finance Committee just passed the $8.7 billion tax and spending plan tonight, less than 24 hours after House lawmakers approved it in record time. Here's a look at some of the key provisions it includes: an income tax cut for Social Security beneficiaries and a 25% cigarette tax increase, plus a hike in taxes for vacation home renters. Target 12 investigator Tim White sat down with the House Speaker today. He joins us now with what Nicholas Mattiello had to say about the excluded toll proposal getting a separate vote, new at 6.
In years past, the budget process has been known to be a contentious mess. House Speaker Nicholas Mattiello knows that full well, having been there for battles that spill into the early morning hours. This year, the budget was through the House before the sun even set. Were you surprised how quickly it got through the House?
I wasn't surprised necessarily. I knew that we had a good budget. I knew that it had a lot, if not unanimous support. And but I was very pleased. I'm very pleased with the way the House came together. We all supported each other. I'm collaborating with my members. I'm listening to them. I'm addressing their concerns. And I think people recognize, if people recognize and believe you're listening to them, they're more likely to want to support you.
You have to think this would have gone differently if the toll proposal were part of the budget. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. I think the toll proposal is a significant proposal. It should be debated. It should be discussed. However, like every other significant agenda item in the budget, we will have it thoroughly vetted by the time we take it up, and I expect at some point we will. I'm working with the governor right now. I'm working with the Senate on this plan right now. When and if we move forward on it, it'll be the right thing for the citizens.
Sure doesn't sound like that'll happen by the end of this session. You have said possibly a fall session. Does that look more likely?
It looks more likely right now, but I'm not going to count out that we can't get it done. Pieces could fall into place very quickly, but right now, you know, quite frankly, I expect that it'll be a fall session or a late summer session because it's an important initiative that we have to address.
The Senate is considering a plan tweaking the proposal to toll truckers. Mattiello tells me it may go far enough to offset the pinch that local trucking companies will feel, but he's not ready yet to say yes or no until further debate. With the Target 12 investigators, Tim White, Eyewitness News.
Our next big story, the Senate Finance Committee has passed the $8.7 billion tax and spending plan tonight, less than 24 hours after House lawmakers approved it in record time. And tonight, we sat down one-on-one with House Speaker Nicholas Mattiello, looking ahead to some big items that did not make it into the budget. Target 12 investigator Tim White is here with that interview, new at 6:30.
What doesn't make it into the budget is often just as important as what does. This year, two major items will be dealt with later by lawmakers: tolls and a proposed baseball park in Providence. The Paw Sox been awfully quiet on that. Where does that stand?
It stands exactly where I've always said. We're quiet on that because we were concentrating on the budget. And, you know, quite frankly, that is not going to be something we address before the end of session. When we have an appropriate plan, and I expect that we'll have something for the public consumption and let the public air it out. And if they're in favor of it, which I'm hoping that we can do something that they'd be in favor of, then we'll ultimately put that to a vote.
The public's real concern about this and the hangover of 38 studios is the public subsidies that would go into building a stadium like that. Can you sit here right now and promise the public that that's not going to happen? Public dollars aren't going to be spent there?
Well, let me say that I think the public has a hangover over 38 studios, but I can't draw the analogy between the two, and I'm not going to. 38 studios was a Hail Mary pass, a gamble, that didn't work out. Whatever the deal that's ultimately proposed for the Paw Sox will be well thought out, will be fully aired and vetted to the public, which is not what happened with 38 studios. They will know the terms of it, and they'll be fixed and set terms. It's not going to be a gamble. The Paw Sox aren't going broke. The Red Sox aren't going broke.
Mattiello tells me the session will end next week. They may be able to tackle tolls by then, but he says it's likely lining up to be a special fall session to handle both tolls and Paw Sox. With the Target 12 investigators, Tim White, Eyewitness News.